want to meet some of the new faces on the championship tour. On the men's side, a very exciting rookie class, and we're going to meet 4 of them, Ross. But just your general feeling on the rookies that have elevated to the championship tour for this year.
You know, it's funny, every now and then it seems like a kind of a big chunk of time goes by, and all of a sudden, bang, there's this one superstar that's just going to break apart the planet. Nothing against this rookie class, but I don't really feel that. That being said, I see a lot of the potential in all of these rookies. Jack Freestone, Kyle Kanoa, all of these guys that we're going to look at this morning have the potential to be a top 10 guy. But I don't know if you guys agree with me, I kind of want to see how this year pans out before I totally settle in on that theory.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's interesting that the oldest surfer to qualify is actually 26 years of age. So it is a young rookie class. And as you said, each of these competitors has a lot of talent, but a lot of room to grow as well. Some of the exciting features that we're going to be bringing you throughout 2016 is the introduction of some great new stats. We've had Michael Jordan back at the WSL HQ. Great to have Michael Jordan on the team. And he's going to be hitting us with some really useful information, especially those of you playing fantasy surfing. This is going to play a huge part in who you add to your teams. And Ross, you're going to tell us a little bit more about it. Average heat scores, but a little more in depth than what we've seen in the past.
I mean, this might kind of confuse people at first, but this is a really cool science to utilize to pick your team, because I'm just as guilty as all you out there. I love to feel my picks. I love to go out there and go to the actual site and go, wow, that guy's ripping. He's on my team. But these numbers solidify your choice in terms of what they've actually done, and not only what they've done at that surf spot, but how big it is, the wind. So all these variables are crunched down to this average heat score, and it's going to help you make a solid choice.
We had an introduction piece on our rookies on worldsurfleague.com, and I encourage everyone to go check it out. There was not only some great information, but some brutal predictions for where the rookies might finish. And as far as the machine, Michael Jordan, is concerned, some of these guys might want to back themselves up with some big QS results.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in surfing, it's really hard to quantify something just because of all the variables that go into, the factors that come to play, like the ocean, what the judges are feeling, and how they're going to differentiate your score. So, you've really got to kind of maybe use that as a bit of fuel to the fire. Look at Michael Jordan's numbers as a rookie class and just override the system.
Rosy, did he sit Steph?
That is one thing that I did see on the Fantasy Surfer for the ladies. He mentioned that maybe Steph wouldn't be a good start. I mean, she's taken out 5 Roxy Pros in the past. She is a local out here. So, you've got to look at those numbers, but then, like you said, go with your gut or go with your heart and know how they've performed in years past.
Rosy Hodge already completely disagrees with the new stats man from the WSL, but we'll see. We'll see how Steph fares in that event. One of the most exciting rookies who really did put up some great numbers when you look at the average heat scores was Kyle Belly. Collected all his QS results at 10,000s last year, so you know that this kid performs when he has the opportunity in those big moments.
Yeah, Ronnie, we were there in Portugal when he actually got a little free glimpse out of the CT Works in Portugal, and he did really well. I believe he got 9th place there, and I think one thing that really makes me confident in how he's going to do this year, he doesn't feel like a guy that's going to maybe not qualify and have to back himself on a QS. I really think he'll firmly be in the top 22. He just seems comfortable under pressure. I don't see him cracking.
Yeah, definitely. I've actually had a couple surfs with them at Salt Creek, and you just see that level. You're like, oh, that's what a world tour surfer looks like. That's what they do on waves like this. And you mentioned that he's pretty good in the juice too. We're going to have a couple events that could put that to the test. So Kaya Bailey definitely has that kind of world tour surfer feeling to him.
I like that, in the juice. But he had a pretty good heat score total in the 1 to 4 foot range, which is probably what we're going to see on the Gold Coast. Jack Freestone, now his stats are really interesting. He won in the Azores last year at QS 10,000. That really helped him on his road to a 3rd place finish on the QS ratings and a berth on this year's CT. But the 23-year-old at home is going to be dangerous. The stat that really works in Jack's favour, Ross, is the fact that he, above maybe any of the other rookies, had a much better heat score average at point breaks and reef breaks.
It's no surprise that out of this whole rookie class, this is probably our biggest star. I believe he's got it's irrelevant in terms of competition, but I believe he's got 220,000 followers on Instagram. He's
give us a mention, Jack.
Yeah, he's been blowing up for a long time. He's got a lot of big sponsorship deals. But that being said, just watching this footage here this morning, you guys, I think he's improved. Last year we saw him get a wild card. He actually won a couple heats, but he looked okay. He definitely looked like a little bit more of a Grom. but he looks like he's maturing pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely. He does have that mature approach. Like you mentioned, we did see him last year, local boy out here. So you say that he does quite well in right-hand point breaks. This is his bread and butter behind us.
And this is also a kid who's spent his life, his competitive life, in the spotlight. He's a good-looking dude. He's not afraid of the camera. I think he won't be overwhelmed by this first CT effort. But Kanoa Igarashi, the youngest surfer to qualify for the championship tour this year, is going to be the youngest competitor, obviously, 18 years of age. I think he kind of surprised himself that he got the job done so early on in his career.
It's one of those things where this is the epitome of what we're talking about opening the show. I want to see him for a handful of events before I really settle in on an opinion on how he's going to do. I think for sure he's one of those guys that's going to have to back himself up on a QS because places like Fiji, Tahiti, I just don't know. You know, Kanoa is going to have to kind of show us all what he's got. We know he's got a lot of pop in his surfing. He's going to be fine in the small beach break stuff, but you know the question marks are there.
I look at Kanoa's run on the QS last year. The beach breaks, he performed really well. He won 2 events in pretty average conditions on beach breaks over in Brazil and also at Virginia. But he didn't catch any big results at any of the big 10,000s, really, any of the events on reefs, point breaks. So a little point of concern there for Kanoa, but definitely growing still, so he could increase his performance levels throughout the season. Looking forward to seeing him perform. Now the oldest surfer to qualify, Alex Ribeiro on screen at the moment, won that event in Saquarema, obviously comfortable competing over there in Brazil, but sort of another big question mark surfer on the CT this year. How's he going to fare at some of these more world-class locations?
Well, you know, I was trying to do some research, Rosie, on Alex, and I was scanning everywhere, and I couldn't find this dude going right.
Yeah.
He loves going left, so it's a big question mark for me to see how he's going to do on his backhand out here.
Well, exactly. You've thrown out into a right-hand point break just off the bat. So you mentioned that his strength does lie on his forehand, and you see, you know, some of his highlights. I do remember when he won this event, everyone was so excited for him. So he's got a lot of, you know, support from the hometown locals and a lot of guys that are stoked to see him do well. But like you mentioned, we've been talking about maturing and growing into that role. So it's going to be interesting to see him take his first crack out here on the Gold Coast.
Predicted ranking from Michael Jordan, our stats man for Alex Ribeiro, 32, well outside of qualification. So I'm sure he'll be looking at the QS as well to back himself up, as most rookies do though.